After a hard-fought and costly victory, the company stands over a host of slain foes. Though far from safe haven, they may have bought themselves time enough to regroup and find the secrets that Déor carried with him.
When last we left off, our company had just faced a host of orcs, assaulting them, ambushing them, as they inspected the corpse of what was once Déor. Through a harrowing battle and several of our company going down and being on the verge of death, some miraculous rolls towards the end has brought our company out to the other side. Not only did they overcome their enemy, but everyone is alive. While not in good shape, they do still cling to life. And with that, you all stand atop this hill surrounded by corpses of orcs. Your enemy has fallen before you, and you can see the rain curtain, which had been following you previously, is now making its way in. You begin to feel the initial drops of an oncoming rain. Is there anything that you all would like to do in this immediate moment?
Larry's probably going to be like, we need to get these two out of here, but we need to see what Déor had on him. That's the whole reason we came here. I'm going to look over Déor's body, since I remember...
Find out what's in his hand.
Yes. Yes, because I remember Miragar was looking at that before things got very weird and then scary.
Yes. So, as you approach Déor's corpse, you see clenched in one of his hands, looks to be a necklace of some kind. You reach down and you pry open his fingers, and you can see that this looks to be an amulet. You look at it and it looks to be made of some sort of a strange-looking shell.
Interesting. Is there anything else that kind of gives away what its make is?
You can give me either. I would take either a lore or a riddle roll.
Well, that's an easy choice for me. And nope, I'm probably just gonna hand it to Thrush. Be like, I'm not entirely sure what this is, but clearly he died over it.
Now, for him, I'm assuming this would be the same, either a riddle or a lore roll. And I think he would go with lore.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go with lore. We'll try it. He is miserable.
Take a bonus success die on this, actually.
Oh, okay. Bonus success die. And he is miserable, so we'll see what happens here. He is not weary, technically, though. Oh, that helps. Oh, geez.
Yeah. Extra. And the reason that you got a bonus die is because you already have something similar.
Oh.
You reach back into your pack and you pull out a talisman that was given to you by the Lossoff. And this is of the very same make.
Interesting. It's made by the Lossoff.
We're a long way. We're a long way from them now, aren't we?
And they said they found this treasure in Moria or somewhere or in the mountains?
I'm not entirely sure where Déor found it from. I just know the dwarves told us that's where he was headed.
And at the coughing of our young hobbit, or older hobbit, whatever he is, I would like, if it's possible, for our young ranger here who, he might have the knowledge of this weed that grows out there that's used to help people who are sick. Does he know, because it's, there's a whole rhyme about it, and if you'd like me to make a roll, because he has rhymes of lore as his specialization, if he would recall the little rhyme about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So that would be a song roll.
All right.
Oh, well, Thrush is quite good at those.
Yes. All right. He's going to sit there. He's just pondering it and thinking about it. And would he add the bonus die for his Rhymes of Lore feature?
Yes.
Or-
So you would be basically with those you would be considered inspired.
Okay. All right. Boom.
I don't know if that's gonna take a hope point from you, though.
It does, but that is
that's fine.
quite all right. You know exactly. You searched back in the annals of your mind, and you recall this rhyme, this little ditty about a weed, well, commonly known as a weed called kingsfoil or athalas, said to be very well known for its healing properties.
Okay. So he's muttering under his breath something about come Athalas. He's trying to get the rhyme back, and he's going to start looking anywhere around here. He's just going to start looking for this and see if he can find any. And he will tell Larry what he's looking for, because Larry's the only person who's really coherent at the moment, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aranel's just like,
Ooh.
I would say if you wanted to give me either a scan or a hunting roll, I would accept either one of those.
Okay. I will do hunting then.
Alright.
And
fail,
are you helping me, or are you going to be doing it separately, or?
Say, if you wanted to, you could spend a hope die, Larry, and give him another bonus die on it
yeah,
to aid him.
I will do that.
All right. So would that be support from a companion, or would that be a bonus penalty die? I don't know.
That would be support from a companion.
Okay. We'll do that, and we will roll and see what happens here.
Nice.
You got a success.
Success. Very good. So yeah, not too far from the stream, which you see just down on the other side of the hill. You can see, as you kind of look around, just kind of underneath some bushes, you can actually see some of this ethalas poking its blooms through the tops of some fallen leaves. And you feel as though there's enough there for you to make good use of.
Excellent. We need to administer this to them. We need to put it, get it into their wounds and contact with the places that they were injured. We can also make probably a tea out of it. I don't remember everything we can do. The sentry fell below.
I have a kit in the apothecary look, so let's get started.
All right. So I would say, if you're going to, whoever is going to do the administering, I would say obviously a healing roll would be what you'd want to do.
All right.
That would be you.
That'll be
help, but
Yeah, I'll take the support, and then I get a bonus die.
So actually, I don't know if I can help because I have no hope left.
Oh, well then. What?
I used my hope up finding this stuff, so I'm like, here you go.
I'll use a hope of my own then.
Oh,
Which
nice.
wasn't necessary.
Gandalf. All right, Gandalf is on your side as you begin to administer. You make a salve out of some kind of, we'll say, some crushed up kingsfoil, and apply it to the wounds, and it seeps deep, and you can feel, those of you who are poisoned, you can feel this cooling sensation, this peace that kind of washes over you. This festering feeling that you were feeling from this orc poison seems to be almost moving in reverse. As it was traveling through your veins, it almost seems to be making its way back out, as if there's some sort of almost like a vacuum meant specifically for this poison that pulls it out of your wound.
nice.
And you hear Orithel over on the side. She breathes, and then she breathes a sigh of relief. And with that, I would say everybody is, at least for the moment, alleviated of their poisons. So you won't suffer the negative repercussions of those poisons for now. I would also have everybody give me an awareness roll real quick.
I mean, I will attempt it, but yeah, no.
My roll will break your computer.
Even while you're
Even as wary. Doing great success.
All right, great success. Okay, yeah. So everybody is kind of busy, kind of wandering around doing their own thing, tending each other's wounds and everything. Aranel, as you're kind of bandaging yourself up, you can hear this off just down on the other side of the hill.
Now, who could that be? She's gonna, like, slowly try to, like, make her way towards the noise to see if she can
Aranel, what's the matter?
determine the sound. There's somebody down the hill. Sounds like they're hurt.
Thrush and I can go look. Just tell us where to go. You and Miragar need to save your strength and watch over where it fell.
And she'll just, like, point towards where the sound was coming from.
Okay, head that way.
Be careful.
Yes.
Blade out.
All right. And as you make your way down the other side of the hill, you spy just on the opposite side, it looks like adjacent to the stream, is a small cave entrance, which you hadn't noticed before. And as you peer into it, your eyes adjust to the darkness, and you can smell this this kind of musty, moldy smell. You peer in, and you can see what looks to be an orc. Gurgling blood up from his throat. You see it bubbles up from his mouth and runs down his cheek, but you can tell he is taking very shallow breaths, but is still alive. And you can also see it looks as though there are the remnants of probably fire, some other rudimentary camping supplies, as well as some other things which don't look like they would have been owned by orcs.
Ah.
Well, he's going to have to make a very convincing argument for us to not just kill him.
I don't think he's going to be able to convince me. Advance on him.
Yes.
The thing.
You see he starts a little bit and begins to inch his way back, realizing that there is no escape. He bumps his head on the wall behind him, and then he accepts it, and then he kind of looks up at both of you. And you see he kind of coughs out a laugh. He says, "You've seen it, haven't you? I can smell the stink on you. All your fear is coming in worse. Run west as far and as fast as you can if you want to live. Because one night soon, everywhere west of the mountains will be ours."
You'll have no hand or no part in this. And he, without actually bothering to ask Larry anything, he's just going to skewer him quickly through the heart.
Larry would be like, well, I was about to offer you the honors, but I see you've already
It's
made
the
your
best thing
move.
we could do for one of them.
And with that,
Curse.
his chest deflates, and you hear the last gasp of this orc as his eyes roll to the back of his head.
Tough
And he's
call.
the only orc that was in this cave, though, right?
Yes, and as you look, you kind of look, and you can see a small blood trail, which has made its way in and leads up to this orc. It seems as though this one probably crawled away from the battlefield to die alone.
Okay. Well, he is going to sheath his blade and drag this body out and just say, Larry, maybe check the rest of this cave and see if it's a good place to stop for the rest of the afternoon before we make them travel.
Yes.
And he's just going to take the orc out and move it away and roll it down a hill somewhere.
Is this a suitable site for a long rest?
I mean, at the moment, you maybe, yeah, perhaps. Now, if you want to, are you wanting to look around inside this little makeshift camp?
I mean, I'll make the attempt. Although, that's
Okay.
not my specialty.
Nothing crazy. Now, as you do, there's not a whole lot in here that would require any sort of sleuthing or anything like that.
All right.
However, you look around and you see what looks to be a heavy sack. Quite large, and it looks to be quite heavy, probably filled with, if you were to guess what this is filled with, you would guess it's probably gold that this is filled with.
We'll take a look.
All right. And
Larry is alive when I came back, then all the better.
And this gold, as you look at it, you can tell that this gold is entirely of dwarvish make.
All
There's
right.
no elven gold in here. There's no mannish gold in here. It's all of dwarvish make. You can see small little insignias, supposedly resembling maybe Durin the Deathless or another famous dwarf which lived long ago. And the coins themselves are in almost like a diamond shape with sharp angles instead of a roundish one that you would see on a lot of other currencies. This is actually going to be equivalent to that of a lesser hoard.
Okay. I probably let the others know then.
Okay. You also look and you can see on top of that sack were probably some possessions of Déor. Looks to be a comb, some pots and pans, and some other traveling gear. Like you see that there's a bedroll and other things of that note. But notably, it looks as like there is a small leather sack sitting off to the side, which remains unopened and sealed with a bit of twine and pulled tightly.
All right, Larry, we'll take a look at that.
And as you pull it open, you remove what looks to be a talisman, bearing the image of a lidless eye on one side and a mouth on the other.
Now, I'm sure Larry wouldn't necessarily know what that means, but he would probably show it to Thrush and or Orithel, seeing as how they're a little more knowledgeable of the dangers of the world. But even I'll just probably kind of take off the talisman and just look at what's inside the book or inside this satchel first, though.
Yeah, it seems as though that was the only thing that was in the satchel.
Just this talisman.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I suppose we should take this all up or bring them down if we're going to be sitting here for a little bit.
Yes, bring them here. And once we're done moving people, I don't know exactly what this is, though, but it feels quite ominous to me, handing this talisman.
It looks like it's somebody trying to project an image of power. Does Thrush have any clue? Does it look just like maybe something like what the wizard was doing in that tower, trying to make a name for himself, a symbol, or what they're doing down at the crossroads of the city at Tharbad? They're like, hey, we have a symbol. We're organized. Be scared of us.
Are you touching it?
Yeah, he's going to take it in his hands and look at it.
And you would have felt the very same, Larry, but as you hold it, this is a very heavy iron talisman, and you can feel it swell with some sort of fell purpose. This is not a mere token. This is something which is imbued with some sort of blessing or curse.
As he feels that, he's going to take it just in one hand, and he's going to hold it back out to Larry and say, we should put this back in that pouch. I like this greatly.
Yes, well, fair enough. We can't just leave it here, though.
We should take it back, and if we get a chance to bring it before Gandalf.
Yes.
You all search the camp. You find your treasure. Let me figure out just how much that is. Lesser hordes, so...
Miragar hears Gandalf's name and stumbles over. Be like, is Gandalf here?
No, Miragar, but we're going to make sure we can find him once we're done here.
Oh.
So, if you
Maybe I should set the fireworks off. Maybe he'll come for those.
Maybe not inside of here, not after we just fought.
Yeah, perhaps another day.
Okay.
All right. And are you planning on divvying out the treasure?
No, I'm taking it all for myself. Yes.
Okay. So, the total treasure amount is 15 points worth of treasure. So divvy that out as you will.
Do we want to give Orethel some so it's a nice even number?
Sure.
Divvy.
Sure.
You
So
try to
we
give it to her,
each
and she
get
says,
3.
she kind of pushes the pouch back to you. Says, "I've no use for this. Please keep it. Put it to good use elsewhere."
Well, certainly you'll need some provisions at some point, won't you?
Perhaps. Something tells me my time grows short. If not, I'm a skilled hunter either way. I will make do.
If you're certain.
Well, you guys each take 4, and Thrush will take 3, because he's of a like mind of Orethel. Is like, it's useful, but not that useful.
All right. And as you do this, is there anything else you would like to do before you take a long rest?
I guess make sure that we have the entrance as covered over as possible, and
Is this the kind of hoard where you get to roll for cool stuff, or is it just money?
This is just, the sack itself was just gold.
Gotcha.
So after looking into it, you would guess that kind of piecing together the portions of the riddle which present themselves to you, you would guess that this is probably the sack that was laden down, the boat that Déor had paddled up the river. And so he carried this sack on the boat, paddled it against the stream, and then marched all the way here from where he had abandoned the boat with this large, heavy sack behind him.
okay.
Why did he need this good? I mean, is he just trying to hoard it? I don't know. This seems bizarre.
He's probably going to pay somebody for something, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Or show something to someone. I don't know. Not entirely certain what's going on here, but he's going to head up and try and move the bodies a little bit farther away, so if wolves or something come in the night, that they feast on them over that way.
Okay. Sounds good. You take a few minutes to move everything around and try to get the festering bodies of the orcs away as far as possible. And as you're doing this, you can see that the rain is still kind of steadily coming down. Your footsteps kind of splash in the grass as you walk. I would have everybody make me yet another awareness roll.
Okay.
As we are settling down for the night and everybody's getting comfy, can I make a healing roll on myself and Aranel to see if I can lower the wound threshold?
Absolutely.
Okay, let me do this awareness first. So then I have another question. Since we are ignoring the poison for the day, can I take that off my character so I get all the benefits of the new stuff, and then just put it back out of the
I don't think there really are any negative benefits
Okay,
outside of,
it's not
outside of just the
automatic.
damage. Yeah, you don't lose any success dice or anything like that.
It's just being wary. Which I can technically drop everything. I think. Yeah.
Even
So what do I know,
Mom?
Mom?
Wary, she's just like,
Say, even
I'm miserable, I'm wary, I'm on the brink of death, but I am still aware.
even though you're wary, that's crazy.
Yep,
So
she doesn't have an off switch.
no.
So it's a
Except for when
good
I'm-
thing you got that success to the degree that you did, because as you all prepare for the night, darkness creeps back over the overhead as the sun goes down. You can hear Aura and Moonbeam become uneasy. They stamp their feet and they snort. There's a bit of unease about their mannerisms.
I don't suppose the cave is big enough to stuff them in here as well.
Well, Something's bothering the horses.
I'll go look. Grab a brand out of the fire.
Please
Sword
be
in the other
careful.
hand. Just stay warm. And step out with the brand in the left hand and the sword in the other.
Larry will probably just kind of like sit up in front of the entrance of the cave, spear and shield out, just guarding.
Yep. Peer
I'm
into
gonna
the
make my healing rolls for wounds real quick while you guys
Okay.
are doing this. It's not gonna affect anything that's going on. All right, your wounds are 1 day less there now.
Sweet.
I failed. That's a bummer. On myself.
Okay.
So it wasn't one for poison.
All right. So, who all is going to check it out? Up top?
Thrush is going up top. I'm just sitting at the mouth of the cave in case anything shows up. Our
Okay.
wounded companions will not be left to dry.
All right. So, as you stand atop the hill, Thrush, you peer out, and you can see that there is torchlight moving through the woods, just off the hill. 1, 2, 3, 4, a dozen, a score, and beyond,
It's into the mud.
marching
Torch
through the
goes through
woods.
the mud just and watching.
And you can tell that they are making their way in your direction.
Okay.
And eventually
Across the
you
mud.
hear as a war horn blasts, and you hear, with your Dunedain hearing, you can hear the pace quicken as what seems like thunder begins making its way in your direction.
Was that an orcish war horn?
You can definitely tell it was not a Mannish nor an Elvish war horn.
Oh, so it's Dwarvish. Got it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Hobbitish.
Skidding across the mud and comes down in, grabs Larry and says, "There's an army coming this way."
Well, I don't like our chances against that, to say the least.
No.
Move the horses somewhere, and I'll try to cover up this cave entrance.
All right.
With that, Orithel says, "Are you sure that's a good idea? They will be on us in an instant. There's too many of them.
Do you
Especially
think-
if one of those horses make noise, they'd be on us.
Can we head down the river? Can you move?
I will do my best."
We could head to the fords of Brunnen. They would be loath to follow us towards Rivendell.
Right you are.
Okay.
We should make haste.
All right. Little one, he's just going to pick Miragar up and
Oh, hey.
onto the pony.
Aranel will be on the other horse.
Yep.
And Orithel, I mean, she could probably fit on a horse as well.
I mean, she either Aranel and Miragar on one horse,
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
somebody on the horse with the Hobbit,
Yeah.
and then the other person gets the other horse,
All
or
right.
vice versa. I don't.
So
Yeah.
your flight
The
to
wounded ones.
your flight to the fords of Brunnen is going to be considered a skill endeavor.
Oh, yay.
Lovely.
Oh, no.
Oh
So-
no.
As you all pick up all of your camping gear, you load it back up onto the horses. Some of you climb atop Moonbeam and Ara to ride. You make your way out of the cave mouth, and you can hear the jaunts and jeers of these orcs as they make their way upon this battlefield once again. So the way that this would work is your flight to the fords of Brunnen will consist of a couple of rolls. Now, here's the thing. They are upon you. So I need 6
Stealth.
successes before... I need 6 successes within 3 attempts.
That's going to be fun.
I can't even drop all of my stuff and become unweary.
I mean, technically, you're on the horse. You don't have to have your stuff on.
And so the predominant roles that would apply to
But I'm
this
still
would
weary.
be-
It's just it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Because you're at 1.
So the predominant roles that would apply to this would be athletics to try to outrun them, stealth
Okay.
to try to hide from them, or riddle to try to get them to lose your tracks.
Okay.
Aranel will do stealth.
Yeah.
I'll do athletics because I got those boots.
Yeah.
Yep. And Thrush is going to be doing riddle.
All right.
Okay.
I'll see what you
And
got.
she's
How you
already
guys?
All right.
Miserable,
So
so
I've got a little tracker here, so everybody just roll it one at a time.
Yeah. I'll let you all go first since you seem to know what you want to do.
Alright, I'll go first.
Do it.
Great success.
How many successes did you get? So you got 2 successes. That's fantastic. Okay. So you begin as you make your way out of the cave. You try to make your way through some brush, kind of into the foothills, and try to make your way deeper into the foothills towards the Misty Mountains. Next up,
I'll go. Miragar leans over to the horse because I know you're not a deer, but maybe these boots will help. And he, nudges the horse forward.
Wow.
That's
Very nice.
great. Oh no.
oof.
Oh, we were so close.
All right, you try to spur the horse on, making her move faster and urging the party to move a little bit faster. Unfortunately, it seems you can't seem to break the pace of the host, which is behind you.
Okay.
I don't know if we're gonna make it, guys.
Well, we're going to try. You can tell me with this which way this would make sense. He wants to do his riddle roll, but I wanted to use his distinctive feature, and I think it would make more sense for him to be using his. It's going to sound weird, his bold feature, because he's going to be doing something silly and a little bit bold to try and draw them off by basically crossing. I don't know if he can get across this river easily, but he's going to try and make it seem like there's noise on the other bank down the way, like whistling into the darkness, throwing his voice, whatever he's doing, trying to draw them across the river and over that way rather than where we're going.
Throw a really big rock.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Yes, absolutely. Do that.
All right, so we are going to add a die on there for that. And he's still not happy, so, well, we'll see what happens here. And
Gandalf.
Gandalf room.
Gandalf!
Gandalf rune.
Thank you,
All right.
It probably doesn't
Probably only counts as one.
get
still,
enough,
though.
but
All right. So you throw your whistle downriver, and as you kind of peer behind you, as you trudge through the woods and through the foothills, you can see some of the torchlight breaks off and makes its way downriver. Some of the host has separated from the main body, but you can see a good portion of it continues in your way. And it seems as though, with the weary state that your party is in, they will be upon you in mere moments.
Okay.
Now, at this, Thrush, Odothello approaches you, and she draws her swords. She says, "Go. Make firm ladders. Look for the white stones. I'll hold them off here."
He's going to do something uncharacteristic. He is going to embrace her.
With that,
Pat her
the
on
rest
the
of you see over Thrush's shoulder, she has a shocked look on her face.
And he is going to go up to the horse and slap its butt and push the other pony forward and just start running.
Okay. And before you do, she grabs your shoulder, and you see she spins you around and unties her dagger from her belt and shoves it into your chest and says, "Make sure Gwyneth gets this. Now go, make haste."
Running.
All right, and as you do, you can hear a shrill war cry full of both valor and desperation as steel clashes with steel. You hear the screams of orcs gurgling behind you, steel clashing with steel, continuing what seems for ages until finally it stops. And you pause for a moment. Silence. And then you hear again far behind you.
And with that, if I can do this right now, I think Thrush is going to take the shadow he currently has. Can he turn that into a shadow scar?
Now would be as good a time as any to do so.
All right, that is.
In fact, before you do that,
yeah,
I'm going to have everybody give me a shadow test for Valor real quick.
got it.
Yeah, I should definitely get this one. This one is for sure one that I'm gonna get.
I am definitely gonna use one of
I'm
our
gonna
Yeah.
use
coins.
one of the feed dice.
Oh, I was so close, but so far away because I'm miserable.
Double Gandalf!
Double Gandalf. That's insane.
Dude, what the fuck?
It's beautiful.
I can't roll. I get one dice in all these rolls, and she's over
Use
here
a
rolling
feed
double
die.
hand.
Nope.
Who the hell? I would have got a
Miserable.
freaking ISR.
All right.
I,
As
I actually forgot to spend a whole point to add a die. But
So-
oh well, that's okay.
As Odothel is left behind, Miragar and Larry, you feel this dread come over you, this sadness. And you gain 1 point of shadow
Yeah.
as you realize that this ranger has sacrificed herself so that you may live.
Yes.
I think you should, with the camera that we're using to show the screen, zoom in on Miragar's token. As he has every possible bad thing.
That is
highlight
insane.
over so you've seen your
Just
death
like-
as well.
Like, looks back at Aranel and be like, I don't feel good. But did Thrush just hug somebody?
He did.
Yes.
Am I hallucinating?
No,
No,
no.
Am I
Yeah.
dying?
we're not.
Not yet, but you're very
Hopefully not.
close.
All right.
I'd rather not lose our chef and our shield wall.
And your flight to the Fords of Bruinen begins. And as you do, you feel as though Odothel probably was successful in her endeavor to hold off the orcs at your behest. What is your next destination?
Well, before we move on, Larry's just going to kind of put a shoulder on Thrush, just kind of turn to him, nod, give a salute.
He looks very non-emotional at the moment. Then he just says, we have a couple of options. We can make for Rivendell. I've never set foot in the place before. Or we can make for the Fords, cross, and head back to Bree.
We could
What
rest
would
at Rivendell.
be?
I think
What would be
Rivendell's
closer?
Rivendell would be much closer.
Rivendell is much closer. It's within a few days.
We can't bring that army of orcs to Bree.
No.
No, yes, I don't think they would go that far, but you are correct.
He'll just pat him on the thigh and say, I think it's time that you see more elves.
Yes, true. We have one with us, so that will at least make getting inside easier.
Thrush, do you have a twin? And is he with us right now?
No, Miragar, I think you're just seeing double. Please rest.
Yeah, I don't feel too good.
Just
Yes, I
lean
understand.
into... are you two on the same horse? Aranel and Miragar?
I
Or
mean,
not?
at this point, they could be on different
Yeah.
ones if they wanted.
I was just going to tell him to lean into her back and go to sleep while we travel. But
No, that's better for some.
My feet are really itchy, and every time I scratch them, I can't itch it.
We should take his boots off.
I'll take Miragar's boots off for him and just like
Let him air
tie
out
him
for a little bit.
tie him off to his pack and be like,
It's like that first day after you get a cast off. You're like, hair, my arm.
There's that pencil I was looking for.
Wow. It's a loose change. Wow. Okay, yeah, I guess we're gonna make for the Fords and possibly Rivendell. I'm not certain if we'll even if they'll allow us into their lands, but at least we'll be up at the road, and if we need to, we can take the roadway back to Bree.
Okay, sounds good. So we'll say that you all kind of are you wanting to make for the river, or are you wanting to stick towards the mountains until you hit the road?
I think the river is better because that way we can get them. We know which direction we're going. We can't get lost, and we have fresh water for them. And we have a chance of finding more Athelas there than we do up in the mountains here.
Okay.
Right.
I don't quite like the mountains. Mountains tend to bring orcs, and
Without looking back at her, because he's walking in front, he just says, "What kind of a dwarf are you?"
I'm not a dwarf. Yet, anyways.
All right, and as you all make your way westward and north towards the River Bruinen, you leave the Misty Mountains behind and their hidden caps beneath the clouds. You eventually, after about 2 days, come to the riverbanks and follow the swift flowing waters northward. Herein lies the question. Are you all traveling at a normal pace, or with your wounds, are you forcing your march?
Well,
I think that would depend on probably if we have an orc army at our back, right?
I mean,
yeah.
those two are on horseback, so we can probably move at least at a normal pace at bare minimum.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rush does not want to stop. He doesn't want to move at a normal pace. He wants to move as fast as possible, but he knows that might be dangerous. But it might be dangerous not to do it. So that's up to the people who knew a little more about healing and the healing arts.
With this, as you travel, if you want to do a forced march, you'll cover twice the amount of ground in a day. However, we'll just say that instead of your travel rolls, given your current states, you gain 1 fatigue per hex square that you travel.
Okay.
So if you make your way towards the river, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And that is if we do the forced?
Correct.
And if we don't do it, it will just take longer and there's more of a chance of them.
Correct. Yeah, it would be I'd say it's 1 fatigue per every 2 hexes you travel.
Up to you. If he sees, why don't we do this? Why don't we start moving at the pace? And once we get to the river, if it feels like everyone is flagging, then he could probably be persuaded to just stop.
Aranel's already at 9 fatigue.
So when we get to the river, you'd be at 11?
Yep.
Okay. And then at that point, he's probably going to turn around with a very hard look on his face and realize that he can't keep pushing everybody this far, no matter how important it is. And he is going to uncomfortably just ease the pace up there. So we're all going to get, is that 3 fatigue or 2 fatigue? And then 2 fatigue to get to the river?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And then after that, we'll go. So even, Thrush is now weary, but he's not concerned for himself. Come on, weary.
Then how many days did that take us to?
So you get to where you're at now is 1 day. We'll say you marched through the night and through the next day, and by the end of the next day, you find that you are on the shores of the River Bruinen.
Yeah, and then after this, we'll move at a more relaxed pace.
Okay. So you make your way up northeast along the River Bruinen, and you realize, Thrush, that you are currently leaving Ranger Lands, or at least what on the other side of the river is the Ranger Lands.
The angle. Yeah.
you come near to the Great East Road. And you recall stories about the Hidden Valley being unfindable unless you know what to look for. Now, Odothel had mentioned searching for the Whitestone Path.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I would call for is I will allow it up to you guys. Either the scout can look for it, or the lookout can look for it. And keep in mind also, Thrush, since you are the guide, you can also take over somebody else's role as well.
I mean,
Or
I'm due
supplement
for
it,
a
rather.
Gandalf rune. I think I've only had 2 forever, and it would be
I've
pretty
also
funny
got a
that
million pips in my awareness. Oh,
it would be
gonna
pretty
say,
funny if
let's let
Miragar
the
was
elf-
like, "Guys, there's a bunch of white rocks over there." All the weird.
I'm probably gonna
No, but
distract
kidding.
Miragar and be like, let the elf look for the elf place, huh?
I guess the question is,
yeah.
with that run, that first thing, we did not stop for that night. Have we stopped for a night since then?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we should do a rest for everybody.
Yes,
and
so
we can
at
get a
this
hope
point-
back.
Yeah, go ahead and do a rest. And then, I mean, I don't know if it really makes a difference. 2 long rests is basically what you'd be at this point.
Okay. So
Okay.
who
Then
needs some hope points? I need to take.
I have 2 out of 10.
I need to
I-
take 2 because I have a scar right now. Otherwise, I will be miserable.
Gotcha.
I also need 2.
Yep, that's fine. I
And
took
then
a few already.
I think there should be 1 left for
I'll
Mer-
take
Miragar.
it, yeah.
And
Mr.
that's
Hobbit.
2 for him.
For it.
It's 2
Yeah.
for him
Okay.
because he has a drug problem. I mean, he smokes.
Yep.
And then Mr. Moss, do I have any knowledge from the sons of what's his face? I can't remember names.
Elrond?
Yes,
Yes.
Elrond's
So, we can say that through your travels and in your interactions with Eladin and Elrohir, they would have told you the at least a roundabout riddle as to how to get to the Hidden Valley of Imladris. You are aware of the Whitestone Path, and you know of a general vicinity of where to begin your search for the Whitestones.
Okay. So do I get bonus die for that?
Yes. Yeah.
How
we'll say
many?
that you get a let's see. We'll say that you get a bonus die, and if you decide to spend a hope on it, you'd be inspired.
Okay. No, I don't think I'm gonna do the inspired, so I'll just take the bonus die. Because I've got a million of these anyways. Success.
Yeah, absolutely. So you you cross over the Great East Road, and you spend the next day searching around the woods just north of the Great East Road, searching for these white stones, and eventually you come to a small glade where the sun kind of pierces through the canopy and shines upon the grass. The grass itself is yellowed, but you can see at the far end of this glade the smallest white stone, about the size of a coin. We'll say that you find this stone, and you can probably take a rest here as well.
Okay. All right. Well, this is the start of the path.
All right.
Excellent.
All right. And
Did
so,
you guys take your rest? I don't know if you need to take another, or if another rest is going to help you since you're hurt.
yeah, it might. So you'd be reducing your wounds by 1 day, and I think that I don't know, because you all are still currently poisoned, so I don't know if...
Do you want us to do our healing rolls to see if we can shake the poison?
Yeah, why don't we do that real quick? Just real quick.
Okay.
Not gonna make a huge thing about it.
I can roll them, so let me do it because I get a bonus die for item.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 'cause shaking the poison is the individual roll.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, clear it.
I thought somebody else could do it for you.
No, so you... Oh, you know what? I think we... yet again, the freaking poison from episode 1 strikes again. So yeah, you still roll the dice. You still roll the die at the end of the day, but you don't suffer the negative repercussions of it.
Oh, gotcha.
So just at the off chance that you get a Gandalf room and cure yourself of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's gonna spend a hope to make this a magical success. But fucking Gandalf. I love it so much.
Bullshit.
Amazing. And
I don't remember this.
Miragar.
Zero.
I'm sorry, Miragar.
It's just we see at
I'm
the bottom.
miserable again.
Miragar.
I'm gonna remember this
this.
next time. Next time Gandalf's like, "You got any of that good Hobbit weed?" And be like, "No."
Okay, so she's no longer poisoned, yes?
No,
Right.
well, so that healing roll was so you could avoid the negative repercussions. Now, what I would have you do now is roll 1df to see if you can get a Gandalf rune to heal yourself of it.
Rude.
You'll figure it out.
No! Damn it.
Okay.
No, I rolled the ISR on. You rolled a 2.
Oh, shit. That...
Well, the good news is that you don't suffer the negative repercussions of it, as you feel as though what Ethelos you have found, you had a good enough supply to last you until now. Now, as you wake up the next morning, you can continue your search for the Hidden Valley. As you follow these white stone paths, you make your way down these steep crevices and follow these narrow passageways along these sheer cliffs, and you can see the roaring waters of the Brunnen down below. I will need another scan roll, if you would, as you kind of come into what looks to be it almost seems as though the cliff itself has been shorn away and leads deep into some rock and back up on to another kind of a barren hilltop. Failure. Okay.
Gosh dang it. Okay.
Can one of us try or no?
Missed it by 1.
I would say that probably Aranel kind of taking the lead on this, given her party role.
Mhm.
That would probably be the best, your all's best efforts.
Okay.
So we'll spend another evening here looking.
So you spend another evening here looking. You feel as though you may have lost track of where it was. Now, Aranel, did you add another bonus die to that?
I did not.
Oh,
Was
well,
it-
you would have rolled... here, go ahead and roll 1ds for me. Or, no, 1dw. Roll 1dw. Oh,
There we go.
okay. So, yeah, as you kind of make your way up atop this hill, you can see there is what looks to be a deadened tree off in the distance, and what looks to be a knot in the center of the tree, and inside that knot is housed a small white stone. And you can continue on your way. And as you make your way, you can see along this cliffside, the deep ravine, the valley tends to widen out as it kind of winds around this large bend, following the River Brunnen upstream. So you feel as though you'd probably be getting close.
We should be getting closer.
Nice. Well, admittedly, I feel safer here than I do out where those oaks are, so take all the time you need at this point.
Of course.
All right. So if you all want to take another rest, you can definitely do that. So you all go to sleep and wake up once more. You can see that the sky itself is overcast, and there is a mist which winds its way down the misty mountains, almost as if it's a falling stream or an avalanche that makes its way down and enshrouds the surrounding area in a thick fog. Aranel, I would have you go ahead and give me yet another awareness roll, if you would.
Okie-doke.
Even while she's wary, that's still a 26.
Yep.
Crazy. So you make your way around this tree which housed this white rock. You follow a few other white stones, which, as you've kind of picked up, they are spaced probably a couple of 100 yards apart. You make your way back down into a narrow winding path along some cliff sides. And finally, hidden at the end of the path of white stones, lies the hidden valley of Imladris, or Rivendell, as it is called in the tongues of men. The scent at the top of the valley is one of pine, yet as you make your way down the spiraling path down the ravine, it switches to a scent of beech and oak. The air itself is noticeably more comfortable, and the trail ends at an open glade, not far above the banks of the River Bruinen. The sound of singing and music fills the valley as you pass over a slender stone bridge without curb or rail. The waters that feed the valley from the River Bruinen cascade down the wall of springs in many majestic waterfalls, while the lands that surround the valley are barren, with only a bit of scree or thornbush to be found. Imladris itself is green with woods and meadows of flowers in full bloom. It is beautiful, as only elf lands could be. And before you, as you cross over this bridge, lies the house of Elrond Half-Elven and Refuge. And with that, we are going to take a quick break and be right back. Greetings, tavern goers, and thank you all for watching this Tales from the Dragon's Tavern production. We wanted to take a few seconds to let you know that we have just launched our first paid tier for our Patreon page. If you like battle maps, regional maps, or anything in between, you can take part in our first tier as a tavern regular. For only $2 a month, you can take advantage of all of the maps made on stream during Saturday morning map making. Fear not, young tavern goer. The free tier is still available, and every episode will be posted there for your enjoyment as well. We here at the Tavern appreciate your patronage, no matter what your tab is. Thank you once again. Now let's get back to our show. We are back, as our company has entered into Imladris, the Hidden Valley, or Rivendell, as it is called in the common tongue. And as you all make your way towards the last homely house, you begin making your way up a steep ridge when from atop this ridge, you hear someone call out to you in a bright elven voice, speaking in Sindarin.
Okay,
And-
so two of us will know what's being said.
And so, those of you who know how to speak Sindarin would understand that this individual, you look up and you can see this individual looking down at you from atop the ridge as it leads up to the last homely house. He calls out to you and says, "What business have you at the house of Elrond? Who goes there?"
She'll kind of respond back in Sindarin. Basically just like, my name's Aranel. I know Eldan and Elro here. We're seeking refuge. Kind of a response.
Okay, and you see he kind of leaps down with the grace of a gazelle from this ridge and lands almost silently on the ground below. He gives you a steep bow and says, Michael Vannen, I am Glorfindel.
It is nice to meet you. I am Aranel.
Give him a bow.
It is long since we've seen the elves of Mithlond beyond our borders. And he looks you all over and says, you're wounded. Please, come with me.
Yes, thank you.
Beat one of the ponies. I guess Miragar's pony, I suppose.
Miragar looks at him and does the uppies again. And he's all like, his eyes are all bloodshot. And he's all, are you gonna take me to the Valar?
Your time has not yet come, Miragar.
And as you all make your way,
I feel like at some point I've probably like pulled out his pipe and been like, Miragar, just take a whiff of this, it'll make you clear. And he's like, oh god, everything's awful, no.
as you all make your way up towards the House of Elrond, you can see up on a hill is a multi-leveled mansion that serves as Elrond's house, with many open-faced porches supported by very intricately carved and curved pillars. You see several outbuildings fashioned in very much a similar way, a lot of open floor plans. You can see straight through a lot of these buildings with very few enclosed spaces. He eventually guides you and shows you in through one of the open doors and says, please get yourself comfortable. And you look in and you can see several very comfortable looking beds with very white silken sheets. And he gestures towards Aranel and Miragar specifically and ushers you forth. And at that, you see he runs off to one of the side rooms and fetches a couple of what look to be water skins and hands one to each of you, including Thrush and Larry. It says, please drink. Hopefully you find warmth in this draft.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Make sure everyone's seated, and then drink deeply.
This is you unstop the water skin, and it's got a very pleasant and floral fragrance to it. As you tip it up, you feel a nice warmth venture throughout your mouth and down your throat, and you feel a comfort go throughout your body. He says, this is Miravor. This is a medical tonic, while also being a kind of you could guess that this is some sort of an elven liquor, but it's also got some sort of healing properties, as you can begin to feel kind of a numbness where your wounds are, and you can feel your poison begin to alleviate itself.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. The master of the house will want to see you, Lord Elrond.
Of course.
Please gather your strength. As soon as you are ready, meet us in the Hall of Fire.
Very good.
And that is where?
And with that, he kind of, with a grand gesture, motions up towards the mansion up atop the hill.
We'll find our way.
You know, this would be my first guess, Thrush, but I'm glad you made sure to clarify.
I just don't want to wander somewhere where we're not welcome.
Understandable.
He says, once you've met with the Lord of the house, do feel free to wander the valley, except venture not into the caves of Nardathal, nor the gates of Bruinen.
Just
All right.
nods.
And with that, he bows once again and takes his leave. And at this, you all are kind of free to do what you will. Gather your strength, heal yourselves. So at this point, you can consider yourselves no longer poisoned, restore all of your hit points, and I would say go ahead and remove your wounds as well. As this marks the end of your latest journey.
What about fatigue? Should we roll for that?
Go ahead. And I would say probably unless you all are planning on leaving here relatively quickly, I would say you can just go ahead and remove all of your fatigue.
Yeah, we're staying here.
Magical.
Aranel's at 11. She sucks at travel rolls.
Alpha spoken. We're clearly gonna have to buy her own horse when we get back.
I'm staying here, dang it. This is the closest I'm gonna get to home in a very long time. So.
How much does a horse cost anyway? We'll have to look into that.
Yeah. So I think that's so for horses. That would be located as far as the standards of living are concerned. That should be in that section. What kind of horse you can afford? Do you all take your rest and then make your way up to the House of Elrond?
Yes.
Yeah, probably just a couple hours maybe to kind of refocus and.
Larry's definitely like very much looking over Miragar and like kind of like, are you back with us, Miragar?
I'm fine. I'm just a little tired. You
Yeah,
think they got anything good to eat here where the kitchen might be, maybe?
I just turned to Thrush, looking dead in the eyes. I'm like, he's back.
He's back. Is there any food in, like, is there a bowl of fruit or anything in this area that I can just bring over to him and plop down in front of him?
Yes. As you look around, you can see that on a table just off to the side, there is a large, what looks to be a basin just full of the reddest apples you have ever seen.
Okay. Bring over a few apples and plop them into his lap.
Oh, wow. He just starts devouring the apples.
As you bite into it, this is probably the taste is that of honey, and as the skin on the apple is broken, it almost feels as though a running stream goes down your throat as the juices from the apple hydrate you and nourish you to the point where no other apple could compare.
This is the best apple I've ever had.
We're never going to get him out of here.
Oh, save some for the rest of us. Aranel's gonna snag one before he eats them all.
Yeah, while they're recuperating, since Thrush is fine, technically, he is just going to be wandering around because he keeps playing with the dagger that's shoved into his belt and the little belt that goes with it. And he is just looking at the buildings, the view, taking in the air.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you...
About Orathel's sacrifice. Because he can never truly be, like, just unburdened. He just has to have something nagging at him.
Thrush doesn't know what happiness is.
As you kind of look about the House of Elrond, you can see and you can kind of hear off in your periphery, there's the sound of a smithy's hammer just off to your right side in a building that is situated next to the infirmary, as it were. You can see a very peaceful stream being fed by a waterfall coming out of what looks to be a spring in a cliffside just about, and the stream itself bubbles down and gathers in a pool just around a fountain, makes its way around a slight bend and then through the smithy's house and down into the River Bruinen. You can see just beyond the House of Elrond, around the hill, looks to be a nice, a walled-off section. You can see that there is some relatively tall-ish trees that stand above these walls, and the walls themselves are covered in these very colorful and flowering vines. And as you kind of look beyond throughout the rest of the Hidden Valley, you can see there are a couple of very tall spires which stretch up towards the sky. And beyond those, you see the Ethelram and Glanaran, which in Elvish means the Wall of Springs and the Shining Lord, respectively, as the River Brune and several of its tributaries feed down around those mountains and into the valley below, where it flows past you all. But you can make your way up into the House of Elrond if you'd like. Did I put a map in here of the House of Elrond? I can't remember if I did. Let me see. Nope, but I did put this out. So I will go ahead and show this to everybody.
Hidden Valley.
I don't know if you can.
Ranch.
I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can tell, but I copy pasted this out of the book, as you can see where the seam is. So, but this is the basic layout of the Valley of Imladris, and where you are at currently.
I'm gonna guess it's the number 4.
You got it. Yep, that's exactly where you are. What would you all like to do?
Well, we were requested at the Lord's house, so I guess that's the first thing we're gonna do.
All right, sounds good. I'm just going through here, clearing out all of these miserable messages for the stream.
There can be no misery when meeting Elrond.
All right.
That means you, Thrush.
Well, I'm still miserable because my hope is shot,
There's my
but
character.
So,
that's okay.
as you make your way up the stairs, you come to the front porch, and you can see a couple of elven wardens guarding the front door. Their bright spears and silver shields stand at the ready, as they're you can see that they wear armor, almost scaled, coming down at angles and meeting in the center. Looks like it's made of. It almost looks like it's made of pure silver with golden filigree, and blue tunics, which kind of rest underneath the plate. You see that there is a door just beyond the front porch, which stands open. And you can hear the sound of minstrels playing, the sound of harps and some singers coming from one direction or another. It's hard to tell, but it seems as though the sounds are surrounding you. And as you make your way in, you can kind of turn to the left, and you can see another open door, and you can hear the sounds of a few voices coming from the other side. One of which, Thrush, you would recognize as Gilrine.
Oh.
And you also recognize, Aranel, you recognize the sound of the voices of Elladan and Elrohir.
I was wondering if those boys made it home.
I think they beat us here.
And
Well, I'm sure they didn't have to fight off an army of orcs.
Well, maybe not.
And as you enter, you can see Glorfindel stands there to the side, kind of hands crossed, and his gaze meets yours, and he gives you a slight nod. You can see, kind of standing at the head of the group, you can see Gilrine standing there. You can see Elladan and Elrohir currently advising Lord Elrond, and Elrond himself standing there at the head of the group, kind of peering down at the floor, almost in an intent listening position. The room itself, you can see, is very wide and open. You can see several pillars kind of line either side of the room, keeping the roof up up at a very great height, and a wide open hearth stands in the center of the room and stretches along the length of the room itself. You look and you see Lord Elrond stands there in quiet contemplation, holding what looks to be a cup of something, probably some sort of a wine. His clothes are very ornate, kind of a you notice a pattern of like blues and light greens in this area, very ornately designed, but very light and silken. You also see off to the side a woman currently weaving a basket, very intricately done. You can see that there are what look to be depictions of leaves and fish and things woven throughout the basket. She looks up and her gaze meets yours, and you can see this almost unearthly beauty about her. Her face is fair, her hair is straight and raven black and makes its way down her shoulders like a waterfall. You see she wears a silver headband around her head. And as you look upon her, you would guess that this woman is the one that all the stories have written of. The fairest of them all, as it were. This is Arwen Undamia. And as you all gaze upon her, her eyes meet yours. And Thrush, Larry, and Miragar, you all recover 1 point of hope. And Aranel, you can additionally convert a shadow scar into a point of shadow if you'd like.
Fuck yeah. Okay.
And as you enter in, you can hear Elladan and Elrohir are informing Lord Elrond of tunnels. You hear Elladan speaks up and says,
well, to be fair, would if they're speaking in Sindarin, Larry and Miragar have no idea what they're saying.
Oh, fair enough, yes. But actually, well, yeah, they probably would be speaking in Sindarin, considering Gilrain would also speak Sindarin. So, yeah, Larry and Miragar, you wouldn't necessarily know exactly what they're talking about, but Aranel and Thrush, you understand them.
Smile and wave, Miragar. Smile and wave.
You understand them very specifically. We ventured down into the South Downs. Reports of wolves and orcs making their way down from the Moria way. And while we did find wolves and slay some, we found that there's a vast tunnel system that they've dug underneath the South Downs, where they have dug in dozens even. And the orc Burzgul commands them. They were beset upon us and we fled before our lives were taken from us. And you see Elrond has some quiet contemplation. He nods. And he looks up and meets all of your eyes and says, please, come forth. And gestures forward towards you all. And he says that in common.
Okay. Yeah, stride forward and just, in case anyone else was hesitating, just kind of motion everybody to move.
No, she would have kind of walked forward.
Yeah.
Fear, Miragar, look at Larry. I feel we're underdressed for this occasion.
Perhaps, but to be fair, you were almost dead a few hours ago, so I think they'll let it slide.
I guess that's true.
Just all you need to do, and he'll just look down at Miragar, Thrush will, and just say, if you ever feel underdressed, just look at me in comparison. Just his burned cloak, his scarred armor. Yeah.
At least you're
Aranel
wearing,
probably looks the best out of the group, but
at least you're wearing orc blood. I think I'm wearing my own blood.
But at least your feet are bare. Don't worry, we had your boots.
Oh, okay.
Wanted them off
Phew.
while we were walking. And just then,
Did I?
as we're having a conversation, then look up.
Maybe
Yes,
that's
you
why
said
I
you
feel
couldn't scratch your
underdressed.
own feet, so I took them off for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
And you see Elrond looks out at you and he says, please do tell us, welcome guests in Rivendell, what brings you to these lands?
Well, we were assisting a Dunedain with our mission, and we encountered, well, a very large army of orcs on the warpath.
And as you mention this, you see Gilrain's eyes kind of open up wide, and she says, you speak of Orothel.
Indeed.
Thrush is going to nod and try and get her attention and then just move his hand back, showing the dagger that's on his belt now, and just...
You see her head hangs low for but a moment. And she sniffs and brings back up, and her eyes meet yours, and you see they're welled up with tears, and she says, she was of the best of us. Brash as though she was. She will be honored.
She's the reason that we stand here now.
Yes.
Well, I will post haste have scouts go and retrieve her. She deserves a proper burial. Hopefully those orcs have not defiled her. And with that, you see Elrond kind of gestures to kind of bring the mood down just a little bit and says, we will not have talk of such foul things in these halls. Please, let us be merry, for all things shall be well in the end.
Well, I'm all for the merriment, although I'm gonna, take out the pouch we have. I'm like, we recovered this. It feels very foul, but we don't know what it is. Perhaps you or your people might. I'm just gonna open
And
up.
he's just going to...
No.
Thrush is just going to stop him from opening it and just say, don't reveal it here.
Okay.
With that, you see Elrond ushers over to Glorfindel and gestures him forward, and Glorfindel strides forward, and he grabs the pouch from you and brings it over to Elrond. And you see a look of concern on Glorfindel's face, as if he can tell something about it. And he says in Sindarin, he says, this is a foul device of the enemy. We dare not unveil it here.
So what we feared.
And with that, Elrond nods, and he says, take it to my study. We shall find out what fell omens lay upon this device.
Apologies if we weren't supposed to bring this here.
Please, no, fear not. This is the safest place for such a thing.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, because I did not feel comfortable holding it, to say the least.
Yeah. Let us be glad that you did not use it.
Yes, well, Thrush and I immediately could tell that there was something foul about it.
I can tell that fell spells are wound about it, even from the distance. We shall find out what it is.
Thank you for taking it from our possession. I feel a lot more comfortable knowing that people who have at least some idea of what it might be are dealing with it.
Yes, of course. Now please, make yourselves comfortable. You all have been through a lot. And he looks at all of you and says, you look quite weary. Take rest for as long as you like. You are welcome in these halls.
Thank you, my lord. I appreciate it.
And with that, he kind of gestures forth and more or less dismisses everyone. You see Gilrain kind of bows her head and begins moving about. Eladin and Elrohir do the same. And you see Arwen get up with her basket, and she makes her way over to her father's side and begins just kind of speaking with him in a hushed tone.
I guess just gestured everyone and say, suppose we're free to do what we wish. Should we find
you
you
think-
something to eat?
Well,
Yes.
yeah, we could take a to-go plate, but maybe a bath.
Fair.
Bottle of wine, I think, might be in order.
Perhaps the boys can show us around.
Yes.
And
Well,
she'll
they
say it
seem-
just loud enough for the boys to hear me.
And you see Eladin and Elro here make their way over and bow deeply. Michael Vannen, Lady Aranel, it has been a long time. Please allow us to show you our home.
Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate it.
And
I will say it was not quite the easiest task to find the path, but
I suppose that's the
Thankfully.
point.
I was able to use your hints wisely.
they don't call it the Hidden Valley for no reason.
I suppose so.
Luckily, the magics of Elrond have kept this place hidden for many an age. Well, many a year. You see Eladin kind of speaks up and says, you all will be residing in the guest quarters for now.
That is more than
Yes, that is more than sufficient considering
Yes.
what we've been through.
it's much better than sleeping on rocks.
Especially when there's an army of orcs chasing you.
Yes, please, tell us, what are these orcs? What is it about them? And you begin they kind of walk you out onto one of the vestibules as they talk to you.
Yeah, Larry will probably kind of go through the whole story about how we encountered Orithel and how we ended up here, and then kind of get to the part where we're talking about Déor, and then kind of just stops because he just kind of finally remembers what happened, and then clouds parted for some reason.
Well, you did that somehow. Something you did. The spirits receded.
Yes, I feel like I don't know how to describe it, but I felt like my ancestors were reaching out to me. I just grabbed onto that, and the clouds parted.
And with that, Elro here reaches out and he says, please, may I see that? And he gestures towards your spear.
Yes, of course.
And he takes hold of it and looks it up and down and kind of looks at it almost as if he's making sure it's straight. He says, strange craftsmanship. How came you by this?
I acquired it on the Isle of the Mother, as we call it.
The Isle of the Mother. Tol Morwen.
Yes, I believe that's what others call it.
Also a dreadful place.
Yes. Maybe less dreadful after we banish some spirits.
Yeah, these are dire days indeed. Spirits have been awakening beneath the barrows and tombs. Some foul presence awakens, although of its nature I know not. We've been scouting to try and find its source, and unfortunately it seems to elude us to this point.
Well, I think it's more than just orcs.
I'd venture to say that you are correct in that assessment.
I understand you were hunting, what was it, that orc with the wolf, or whatever his name was?
Yes, they've been terrorizing travelers on the road, on the Great East Road towards Bree. We thought that we might root them out, but unfortunately their numbers were too great for the two of us.
I see. Well, I do believe we almost encountered them at some point during our travels.
Perhaps more than once.
Yes, perhaps more than once at this point.
We definitely encountered their wolves.
That much is true.
I do have the pelts of
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they're
a few of them.
that's right. They're really ash covered and stuff.
Hmm.
Yes, we noticed the same. It seems as though Perhaps Bodasgul has marked them to know which ones are his, although I doubt that there are any who reside in the South Downs which he doesn't lay claim to.
Fair enough.
And he returns to the subject of your spear and says, This must be something to this. There must be power in the words that you spoke, or power in your blood.
I mean, perhaps so. I admit, as far as my family knows, we're just humble men from Bree. I guess if you go back far enough, everyone's a hero at some point.
Indeed. Well, please, do make yourselves comfortable. So far as we understand, you've been given leave to venture where you will, save for a few specific locations.
Yes.
Yes.
Please do make yourselves at home. You are most welcome here, especially for those who fight against the enemy.
Yes. Well,
I
thank
feel
you.
like at this point, Miragar's been pretty quiet this whole time, and it's because he hasn't actually been there. And he steps back up with a plate of fruit, and he goes, "Where would the bathhouses be? Because now that I'm smelling all the wonderful smells of your beautiful home, I realize that we are a tad ripe, from our travels."
And with that, you see both Elladan and Elrohir laugh out loud and say, "Please, come with us." And as they lead you out from the front vestibule and down this long set of stairs into the kind of the main section of outbuildings, you see situated around this central fountain in the middle of this, what would be kind of like a town square. You see they lead you into this another open building with a clear pool, which looks to be have a floor of marble, just this bright white marble, and flowing waters which are fed from this stream. And yet, as you dip your toes into it, it is not cold as though you would think a spring-fed stream would be, but warm and comfortable. It says, "Please take as long as you'd like. We will be, around."
Perhaps at some point we can do a little bit of training, if you would like.
You see both of them look back over their shoulders at you and scoff a little bit. Of course.
I do have a fancy new bow from the last time we were.
Really? Please, allow me.
She'll unsheath it and hand it over.
They look at it and kind of recoil a bit.
Don't scoff.
This is a mannish bow.
Yes, and it does well.
And you see Elladan he holds it and pulls back on the string a little bit, and his eyes go a little wide, and his eyebrow furrows a little bit. And he says, A good draw. Well crafted. One might be forgiven for mistaking this for an elvish bow.
Indeed.
Yes, well, the people of Archet are proud of their craft.
Archet.
It was quite the task to win this.
What say you, Elrohir? Shall we make our way to Archet next?
Good luck.
I think so.
These take a while to build.
Yes. Lady Aranel very much earned that.
Well, Aranel, we will see you out on the training grounds when you regain your strength. For now, please do take rest. We want you in top shape before we trounce you.
We'll see who trounces who.
And with that, we can go ahead and take off. Let's see. So you all have fought against the shadow and successfully removed a what would be probably considered an item of power, as well as removing quite a bit of gold from the clutches of the orcs. I would say that you would all be able to remove at least 3 shadow points.
What if I only have 2?
then you
remove
can
shadow
remove 2.
I only have a shadow scar, so I don't think I can remove that. So
Yeah.
I'm in the same.
Well, I'm down to 1 shadow scar now, so that's
yeah,
super good.
Yeah.
definitely.
Love it.
And with that, if you all would like, you can begin your fellowship phase if this is where you would want to spend it. As you kind of wander around, we can kind of fast forward just a little bit and say that the days kind of bleed together. You lose track of time, and you don't necessarily know exactly if it's been days, weeks, months you've been here. All that you know is that you are in a place of refuge, of comfort, and safety. And your spirits have been completely uplifted. You notice that the weather doesn't really change much. Every day seems fair. Every once in a while you might get a wisp of cloud which passes over the sun to provide just a little bit of shade, but the heat of the summer does not make it past the walls of this valley. So as your stay progresses on, you go about and you are now considered elf friends, which means that you have leave to traverse the hidden valley, save for a few places. You spend some time up in the walled gardens just beyond the House of Elrond. And as you pass through, I'd like to ask, when you would envision the Garden of Eden, what does that look like to you?
Okay.
Flowers everywhere, a giant, beautiful fountain in the middle, benches throughout.
Okay.
Good stuff.
For Thrush, it would definitely be running water and probably fireflies and dragonflies.
All right. For Larry, probably be running water, a few nice flowers, probably a large, maybe an oak tree that he can just sit under and get some shade in, and I don't know, maybe a few animals running around too.
So I think for Miragar, the perfect garden would be one that a hobbit would have. You know, there would be beautiful, bright flowers. There might be a small, maybe a couple raised beds with carrots or tomatoes or something like that. Just everything one would need to fill his time. So tending to a garden, tending to crops or plants and stuff like that.
And as you all pass beyond the latticed gate, you all step into what seems to be a different world, as you all seem to find exactly what it is that you hope to see or most desire. You make your way around and you relish in the pleasure of getting lost and then found again in the endless lanes and alleys lined with hedges. And after a indiscriminate amount of time, you spending this time in what seems to be probably the most peaceful place you've ever been, you see a couple of forms making their way across the bridge and up towards the House of Elrond. One tall with a pointed hat and another quite short.
I know of at least one tall person with a pointed hat.
Yes, perhaps we have found our real wizard for once.
Perhaps.
All right. And as you all make your way down to meet him, you do see it is, in fact, the real Gandalf, accompanied by a dwarf. And you see that this dwarf is, he's clothed in kind of a blue tunic, and he's got his hood pulled up with a long blonde beard. Gandalf addresses all of you and says, just the company I was hoping to find. I trust your travels have been most fortunate.
I don't know about fortunate, but we're still alive, so...
Oh, please, do tell me about them. And, please, follow me. And as you follow him, you see the dwarf himself actually introduces himself. Well, how do you do? Floki, at your service.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
And you make your way down through the valley, and you find an old grove of chestnut and oak. And Gandalf makes his way to the center, and you can see that there is a very large tree, an old chestnut tree, large enough to shade quite a large gathering. And Gandalf sits beneath it. He leans on his staff as he leans against the tree at the same time, places his staff and leans it up against the tree and lights a pipe. He says, the old hoary chestnut. Sometimes I hear its whisperings. And it takes me back to places which I had long thought forgotten. Which one of you all has a wisdom of 3 or more?
I have 3.
You have 3?
I have 3 as well.
Okay.
Only 2.
Okay. And as Gandalf is saying this, you kind of hear whispers on the wind as the leaves rustle through this old chestnut. It takes you to places, open fields, running waters. You feel as though the wind is telling you of things forgotten. You all, both of you, you can gain a rumor of something that is going on in Middle-earth.
Ooh.
Or you can gain inspiration on your next lore roll. I'll give that choice to either of you.
I think.
And you don't have to make you don't have to make that choice now.
I think Larry would probably take the rumor.
Okay. All right. I will give you a rumor as soon as the next session starts. And you see Gandalf seems at peace, sitting beneath this tree. He kind of closes his eyes, not as though he's sleeping, but as though he's listening. And you see Floki actually addresses you all. And seems as though he doesn't really grasp the gravity of the situation as far as the old hoary chestnut and the whisperings that it provides to those more wizened than others. But he does go on to address you all and says, "You know, I've heard of a company such as yourselves having all kinds of grand adventures, sailing the high seas to the some isle far away and banishing spirits and killing trolls and the like."
That might be us.
Probably us.
There were giant bats too.
Yes, those were quite unpleasant.
Yes.
Giant bats. Interesting. You know, I've not faced any bats myself other than the small ones that come beneath the mountain. And I forgot to show you, this is kind of what this dwarf looks like. You see he's got a kind face.
He's got, kind of looks like a Santa Claus.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like Santa Claus. And as he talks to you, you can see he treats you almost as though you are old friends. He regards you with the utmost respect, and eventually he gets to the point where he says, "You know, there's no celebration quite like the celebration of dwarves beneath the halls of the Blue Mountains. Perhaps one of these days y'all can make your way to those halls and join us in a feast."
I mean, if people are more than welcoming, I don't see why not.
Very good.
Well, you've definitely won over the Hobbit with talks of feasts.
Yes, as much as I've loved the apples and everything here, they really don't have enough meat.
Aye, these elves don't have an appreciation for meat off the bone. A nice flame charred. Oh.
Good breakfast sausage.
ham.
Bacon. A good well done pheasant with the right proper seasonings.
A good flank of
Roast.
sheep.
Yes.
It's making me mouth water as we talk about it.
Should we leave you two alone?
You know, I heard your tale is starting to rival that of old Bilbo Baggins. I've heard so much about.
Oh, well, I don't think anything can rival a dragon.
Yes, I don't think we've faced anything quite that fierce, but...
Aye, but he's all but retired, and you're just getting started now, aren't you?
Well, I don't think we're in any kind of shape to be facing a dragon at this point.
Need some rest.
This place seems nice and all, and I suppose if you rest here long enough, perhaps you'd gather your strength.
Yes.
I myself couldn't feel myself staying here, longer than a fortnight, but we'll see. I just met Gandalf on the road, and he bid me follow him.
You've never met him before?
Well, no. Actually, no. But he saw fit that I follow him, and, Gandalf seems more welcome here than anyone. At least apart from...
Gandalf have that way about him.
Yes, he seems to find his way to the queerest of places.
Yes, well... He seems to always end up exactly where he wants to, when he wants to.
And you see, as you kind of look over, you see Gandalf's eyebrow kind of raises a little bit as he listens. And he says, you know, I was wondering if you might, seeing as how you all are adventurers and everything, I was wondering if I might bid you with a task, a small task.
It depends on the task.
Yes.
Well, you see, I have this letter, and you see he opens up a satchel that rests at his side and pulls out a sealed letter, and you can see that the letter itself is sealed with wax, and it looks as though it's the wax seal itself has some dwarven runes emblazoned upon it, and he holds it forward.
What do you need this taken to?
Well, he says, I was wondering if you might be able to take this to me brother, Flonar, at the Vale of Gold.
Flonar?
And do we know where the Vale of Gold is, or?
If I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Flonar would have told you kind of the roundabout area of where it was.
Okay, yep.
Aye, but it's just east of the Blue Mountains, towards the lake of towards the lake of Evendom. Me brother Flonar has, he's set himself up a little settlement with himself and some of his followers ever since he was shunned from the halls.
You know, funnily enough, I'm pretty sure we met him.
Did you?
Yes.
Strange.
Yes, as we were leaving Bree, he was actually talking to another dwarf we'd met before.
The fortunes of Alley smile upon us down today. Well, it seems as though perhaps this was predestined to happen. And you see Gandalf's eyebrow raise once again.
What are you planning, wizard? Besides throwing more runes at Aranel.
No, give me all the runes. I need them.
And if nobody's taken it yet, Thrush can take the letter.
Yeah, of course.
He hands it over quite readily.
All right, everyone, you need to make a scan roll to see if you see Gandalf handing a pouch of something to Aranel. Probably all his runes.
Yeah.
Just put these on all the faces of your dice. You'll be fine.
Say, what you probably do see as this kind of conversation comes to a head and things start to calm down is Miragar going up to Gandalf with his pouch and
Young Miragar, please. Have a seat.
Of course.
Sit next to an old man and regale him with a tale or two.
Well, before that, I think there is some good weed to be smoked. And he starts to kind of fill up Gandalf's pipe and his pipe.
Oh, nothing quite like old Toby. You know, I heard that old Adelard Toot killed himself.
Killed himself? Well,
No.
probably deserved it, really.
Oh no! Moss just wants to make it short of this.
That's too dark for Thrush, so he's gonna walk away.
Miragar, has his pipe and blows out a smoke ring. It's not great. And he goes, well, I guess we should smoke this to the memory of the old idiot Took.
Yeah, if you may take advice from an old wizard, pull the tongue back as you make your ring. You'll find that
Gandalf, I didn't see you at the last smoking competition in Sadler's.
he kind of jostles you a little bit with his elbow, and he says, well, it wouldn't be much of a competition if I were there, now would it, young hobbit?
I mean, if you didn't use magic, it might be.
Quite right you are. And as you all sit beneath the old hoary chestnut, I think that is where we will end tonight's session.
All right.
All right.